Okay, good morning. Welcome to Chaikin PowerFeed, your daily market digest. Today is Friday, May 25th, 2018. I am your host, Dan Russo, the chief market strategist at Chaikin Analytics. You can follow me on Twitter, where I post thoughts throughout the day at Dan_Russo_CMT. And as always, PowerFeed TV brought to you by Chaikin Analytics in conjunction with StockCharts.com and StockCharts TV. You can get your free daily Chaikin Power Feed at www.chaikinanalytics.com/PowerFeed TV. So yesterday, U.S. equities were mostly lower, but ended well off the worst levels. Treasuries were stronger across the curve, and the yield on the 10-year note slipped back below 3%. The dollar was down on the major crosses and fared the worst against the risk-sensitive yen cross. Gold finished up about 1.1%, and was back above the $1,300 per ounce level, and oil pulled back for a third consecutive session, with WTI settling down over 1.5%. Utilities, industrials, and telecom outperformed, while energy, financials, and materials lagged. So we'll jump right in to the key levels. And the key levels really haven't changed here. Support at the 27.10 level, resistance at 27.41, and there it is. I mean, look, for 2 weeks, we've been bouncing back and forth in between those two levels. As we if we do break one way or the other, there's further support in the 26.58 to 26.75 zone down here. And then obviously the 200-day moving average is at 26.32, 26.33. If we do break 27.41 to the upside, I think we'd probably run into some trouble at the 2800 level. Those were the March highs, as well as round number resistance. As you know, 27.41, the key level that I am watching, though I think a break there reasserts the secular uptrend, and ultimately we would move up and through two new highs. That is my view, and that view is grounded in a few indicators that I watch. First, RSI, my measure for momentum, 14-period RSI has shifted back towards bullish ranges here. We've seen recent lows above the 50 level. We want to see that. That's a sign of bullish momentum as well. Chaikin money flow, really seeing some strong positive readings here, and that's a function of actually the last couple of days. Opening lower and then closing near the highs of the days. That'll get that Chaikin money flow indicator moving in the bullish direction. And you can see we have been bullish since early May. So those two indicators kind of give me the clue that odds favor a breakout to the upside. But as always, let's let price dictate. 27.41, the level that we are watching. Moving now to your market in a minute. This is what you receive as a Chaikin PowerFeed subscriber. Stocks closed lower, but off their worst levels. The S&P 500, as I said, held support at that 27.10 level before moving higher. 10-year yield falls below 3%. We'll take a look at that chart a little bit later in the show. Is technology poised for a breakout? I think so. We'll dig in and see why. We'll also look at an indicative stock. Futures are pointing to a higher open. So now, the major indexes from a Chaikin Power Bar perspective. Chaikin Power Bar tells us how many stocks in each index are either ranked in our system bullish or very bullish, neutral in yellow, bearish or very bearish in red. You can see the mixed nature of the markets here. The Dow skewed to the bearish side. The S&P 500, 77 bulls for 109 bears, skewed to the bearish side. But the NASDAQ and small caps both skewed to the positive. NASDAQ, 14 bulls for 12 bears, small caps. We've been harping on this for a while now. I mean, to call it a table pounder would be an understatement at this point. We think that small cap stocks are going to continue to outperform large cap stocks, and I would not be surprised to see that trend continue. Small caps actually up on the day yesterday, about 5 basis points, and you can see the power bars, 542 bullish or very bullish stocks, 301 bearish or very bearish stocks. Bonds ticked up on the day, sending yields lower. So, according to the Chaikin Power Bar, small cap stocks remain somewhat more bullish than large cap. Major indexes are mixed. Range-bound trading here for the S&P 500. This chart goes back about 3 months. As you know, we still consider this a consolidation within the context of a secular uptrend. Our stock of the day today, again, as a PowerFeed subscriber, we'll give you a stock every day based on the Chaikin Power Gauge rating. And today's stock of the day is Perficient, ticker symbol PRFT. Closed at 25.50 yesterday, up 59 basis points on the day. It comes to us from the computer software and services industry group. And as you know from yesterday's show, we are bullish on software and services. So Perficient looks compelling from a power gauge standpoint. Obviously, a very bullish power gauge rating, and the power gauge rating for Proficient is very bullish due to very attractive financial metrics, very positive expert activity, and strong price volume activity. So these 4 factors get rolled up into the power gauge rating. So let's take a look at the chart here, how I'll analyze this stock as it comes to me. Actually, Proficient is a stock that I called out for Chaikin Analytics subscribers back in the March timeframe before it had this move higher. So stock is still very bullish, has a strong trend and in a strong industry group. So as I like to say, we are fishing in the right pond. Moving to the bottom of the chart now, the ribbon tells us where the power gauge has been, and you can see why I would like it, right? Stock's been predominantly bullish or very bullish for the past 12 months. And more importantly, the market is in agreement with our model as the stock is outperforming relative to the SPY. This is our dynamic duo. This is what we look for when we're looking for stocks. A very bullish stock in a strong trend in a strong industry, outperforming the market. That's a stock that we want to be keeping an eye on, potentially to own. And then we want to look at the technical factors, figure out if it sets up tactically for a long idea. And I would say right now, it does not. It should go on a bullish watch list. And the reason for that is we're overbought based on our overbought, oversold indicator. You can see here, we are above the rising long-term trend line, but we're closer to the top end of our volatility bands. Chaikin money flow remains bullish. It's been predominantly bullish for the past 12 months. So that's a sign of institutional accumulation for the stock. However, for me, what I want to see is I want to see this stock kind of consolidate above the $23 to $24 area. I want to see this overbought, oversold indicator roll over and get closer to oversold conditions while the stock remains bullish, while the trends in industry remain strong, and while the stock outperforms. That, to me, tactically tells me I want to get involved on the long side in this stock. So Proficient is a stock that I'm going to add to my bullish watch list. I'll keep an eye on it. And when it becomes oversold within the context of an uptrend, definitely looks compelling. I'll definitely be calling it out for Chaikin Analytics subscribers if it does remain in a solid bullish setup. So moving to the sector level, our sector tractor tells us sector movement for the main groups over the last 5 days. We can see here that, there really has been kind of a risk-off feel to the market this week, and you can see it as utilities and real estate are the top 2 performing sectors over the past 5 days. That's partially a function as well as of bond yields coming in, but those are 2 defensive sectors. And they're catching a bid this week. A little bit of short covering in there. You know how I feel if you've been watching the show and if you've been listening. I think rates are going higher. I think rates, are going to go back above 3%, could run to 3.2%. I think these bond proxy sectors such as utilities and real estate are going to come under pressure, and I would actually view the recent strength as an opportunity to sell the weaker names, or if you're so inclined to short stocks, maybe open some short positions in bearish or very bearish stocks within those 2 subsectors. Industrials continuing to do well as trade tensions ease somewhat. Technology is the one that really has me excited here. Up 93 basis points over the past 5 days. It has been outperforming of late, and we want to see that. Technology is 26% of the S&P 500. For the market to break to the upside, technology leadership needs to be maintained. As far as I'm concerned, it's the largest it's the largest weight in the index. We want to see technology do well. In particular, you've heard me talk about this in the past. We want to see semiconductors start to outperform. There's a 90+% correlation between semiconductors and the S&P 500. So we want to see tech in gear. A good start here, up 93 basis points over the past 5 days. Risk appetite as well in consumer discretionary. Earnings coming in mixed for retail names, but the group has done well. And you can see now at the bottom of the list, energy. As I said, oil down this morning by another 1.5% would be the 4th day in a row that oil is under pressure. Of course, that's going to ding the energy sector, and the fall off in bond yields kind of hurting the financials here in the near term. I wouldn't be surprised to see the financials reverse higher as bond yields move up. So now moving to our industry in focus, and it's timely. Real estate has rallied, but look at the power bar. Look at the Chaikin power bar for the real estate services group. 31 bearish stocks, 26 bullish stocks, has underperformed the S&P 500 by 8.57%. Power bar ratio, which measures future potential, is weak with more bearish than bullish stocks and is currently ranked in the number 16 out of 21 subsectors that we look at. So for me, I see this. I want to go looking at real estate stocks that have maybe had a little bit of a rally. If I own them, I want to prune them from the portfolio. If I'm inclined to short stocks, maybe you want to put some out on the short side. 3 of the indicative stocks in the group, all with very bearish Chaikin Power Gauge ratings: UDR Inc., Equity Residential, and Invitation Home. So the 3 of these stocks, if they're in your portfolio, maybe you want to think about trimming some. If you're a short seller, maybe you want to think about putting some out on the short side. Let's take a look at one here. UDR. Very bearish Chaikin Power Gauge rating, as we said, closed at 35.40, down 20 cents or 56 basis points yesterday. The trend is weak. The industry is weak. So, this is not a stock that you want to own. And if you're a short seller, this is a stock maybe you want to think about shorting. Moving to the bottom of the chart now, you can see the ribbon. We have been bearish or very bearish since December. And just look at the persistent underperformance relative to the SPY. So the market is in agreement with our model. Tactically, does it make sense? I'd say not yet. Here's why. Our overbought, oversold indicator is in oversold territory. We want to maybe see some sideways activity above the $34, $35 range. Get this indicator back to an overbought condition, and then look to sell stock or sell stock short, or maybe take a bearish position via the options market. Here you can see the stock is below a declining long-term trend line. Middle range for our volatility bands. Chaikin money flow has been bearish of late. UDR now being added to a bearish watch list that I maintain. I want to watch and see if it does get overbought while all these other bearish factors remain in place. Would set up a compelling entry for a trade on the short side. Keep an eye on UDR. Trending names, let's look at some of the gainers in the S&P 500 yesterday. NRG up 3.86%. Kohl's, KSS, kind of reversing its loss from the previous day after earnings disappointed. Same thing with LB. Notice LB still maintains a very bearish Chaikin Power Gauge rating. Both of those stocks kind of seeing a little bit of a relief rally after being sold off following their earnings prints. GPS up 3% yesterday, but down 7% today in the pre-market following earnings that disappointed. Whirlpool down over 8%. Albemarle down over 7% yesterday. I highlighted this name as a sell idea to Chaikin Analytics subscribers earlier this week. Nice to see that one playing out. Best Buy, guidance disappointed. Stock gets hit for 6%. A couple other names down 3%, PXD and APA. I like to keep an eye on big moves, outside moves in stocks. That could be a sign that the trend is changing. So that's something we like to keep an eye on. Let's kind of go through some of the key themes here. Here's the high beta versus low volatility ETFs, and we can see that high beta has been outperforming. Every Friday for Chaikin Analytics subscribers, I go through key themes. This is a bullish theme. If investors are willing to own high beta stocks over low volatility stocks, that's a sign of risk-taking activity. You can see the RSI is shifting into bullish ranges for the ratio. I think that has bullish implications for the market going forward. As I said, technology, when I think of high beta, I think of tech. Here's the XLK, kind of above support at $68. RSI moving into bullish ranges. Would not be surprised to see a breakout through the $70, $71 level, especially as the group is being accumulated here. Chaikin money flow turning bullish. An indicative stock in the space is Facebook, consolidating after a strong move off the lows. RSI is in bullish ranges, confirming the recent price trend. And look here, the Chaikin money flow remained bullish during the decline and has been bullish for most of the past year. That is something we want to see. I wouldn't be surprised to see Facebook break up and through the $195 level. Here's the yields. Bounced off support yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised to see yields start to move higher. Key sectors. We have 5 key sectors now with bullish power gauge ratings. Materials, technology, financials, energy. That's where you want to go looking for your long ideas. Those are the sectors that are outperforming relative to the SPY. That wraps it up today. Have a great holiday weekend, everybody. And just a reminder, you can subscribe to PowerFeed at ChaikinAnalytics.com. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.